At that point, the South had over 8,700 miles of railroad track. The North, for comparison, had 22,000 miles of track. The South's railroads were of much lower quality than the North's, though. They had been hastily built and did not conform to a standard gauge. Some lines were the normal 4/8 and a half, some 5, and others 5/6. More importantly, though, strategically, they were much less useful than the North's. The South's rail network had been determined by the needs of its primary export, cotton. That led the lines to be designed to run outward towards the sea, instead of inward to help facilitate the travel within the states. There was only one Trans-Confederacy line when the war broke out. That line was from Richmond, Virginia to Corinth, Mississippi, running through Chattanooga. They were building a second one, which was going to run from Montgomery, Alabama to Petersburg, Virginia, running through Atlanta, Augusta, and Wilmington. That one wasn't fully completed by the outbreak of war, and it scarcely connected with the other Trans-Confederacy line, which was further north. They were basically two isolated rail lines. The Confederacy did have a southern line, but it wasn't the most convenient. That Mississippi Southern line had to stop at Mobile Bay, which forced passengers and freight to ferry across the bay, and even then only picked up a trunk line north to Chattanooga into the connector lines that linked Mobile to the rest of the Upper South. Furthermore, the spirit of state-focused society in the South made the rail lines largely for internal use, and scarcely interconnected with the other states' lines. For example, the railroads of Georgia and the Carolinas were both almost completely self-contained networks, laid out specifically for the purpose of carrying cotton to the Atlantic coast. Mississippi lines were similar in that respect. They had been designed to bring cotton down the state for shipment out of Mobile and New Orleans. The North, by contrast, had much more strategic railroads. Their lines had been designed to facilitate the flow of rail traffic east to west. The South, on the other hand, had designed their rail networks to be more north to south, like the Mississippi Central, which ran from New Orleans to Memphis, or the Nashville to Chattanooga line. The North, on the other hand, had lines from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, and then through Columbus and Indianapolis to St. Louis. Moreover, they had north-south feeder lines, like those from Indianapolis to Louisville. All of these lines of the North provided a massive advantage for the Union's ability to move armies from the Atlantic states to the Mississippi Valley,